Hi, I'm Kiara Motley, and I am here with Jennifer Yee, the pastry chef at Lafayette. How are you doing?
Great.
Great.
How are you?
Pretty good on this holiday weekend. So a couple questions for you today. You started off in architecture.
Yeah, interior architecture.
Interior architecture. How do you think that led to pastry?
Well, I think even before I started that degree, I was still in love with pastry. My parents didn't think it was all that practical to go into culinary right away, but interior design and architecture was another love of mine at the time, and I went through it and I got a degree, and you know, I still think that it was a great learning experience. Through that degree, I took a lot of art classes, painting, color. So I think a lot of that helped me with how I see a plate and how I combine different colors and flavors on the plate.
Nice. I know also that your uncle had a restaurant growing up?
Yeah, he had a small deli, a local deli in San Francisco, and then he did run a restaurant in a hotel. I used to cook with my uncle, his name is Uncle Tom. I used to cook with him a lot because we lived in the apartment just below him and my grandmother, and I would come home from school and we would watch cooking shows on public television, and I would, for my birthday, I believe it was my 12th birthday, I wanted to recreate a cake that we saw on one of those shows, and he helped me realize that.
How did Lafayette come about?
Lafayette came about pretty surprisingly, actually. I was in between jobs. A friend whose brother was a sous chef at Locanda and knew that Andrew Carmelini was going to be opening a new French restaurant with a bakery, and I applied for the job, and
as you do.
I met with chef and we went forward with a tasting, and he chose me.
Do you feel like French dessert, French cuisine, is that sort of something you've always been passionate about? Do you feel like that's sort of where you land in terms of?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the most experience I've had. I went to Le Cordon Bleu in London, which is a French culinary and pastry school. So I got a lot of great French technique and foundations there. I have worked with French pastry chefs, and I think, yeah, most of my experience is French-based.
Yeah. Are there any people who you consider mentors in the field, or people you look up to?
Mm-hmm. Well, I always say David Carmichael. He's a pastry chef now at the New York Palace Hotel. He was also very nurturing when I was his sous chef. He allowed me to put things on the menu. He really helped support my move into pastry chefdom. Mm-hmm. And he's always had a great attitude in the kitchen. He was very, very supportive.
Pastry. I sort of feel like it's a little bit high stress, lots of specifics, lots of regimented things. You're running a kitchen you're running a pastry kitchen for the restaurant, for the bakery. Somewhat high stress situation. How do you let loose?
Letting loose, I don't run a very hard kitchen. I think I'm fairly easygoing, so I don't think I have to let loose as much as some people do. Like, I don't binge drink or.
No. I was thinking more like, I don't know, painting or.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I consider myself pretty domestic. I grew up with Martha Stewart, so she inspired a lot of the, gardening, and not that I have a garden in my New York apartment, but she inspired a lot of, I make my own Christmas cards and Thanksgiving cards for my family. That's pretty much the most I do these days. My dream world, I would do a lot of things at home.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a homebody.
Yeah. When I was looking at pictures from Lafayette, I saw all these just gorgeous macaroons.
Yeah, those are fun.
So many. So I just was wondering, is that something that you just sort of love, or something just beautiful flowers for Mother's Day created out of macaroons, and all different kinds. So I don't know if that's a special thing for you.
I think macarons are a really great gateway into introducing people to French patisserie. You know, they're very petite. You can choose different flavors. They're always going to be very pretty with the different colors. You can pipe them into different shapes like flowers. You can airbrush them with a pattern. They're very, very versatile, and I think when you come into the bakery and you see this assortment of color, it really draws your eye and brings you in and allows you to look at all the other beautiful things we have in the showcase.
Desert Island. 3 desserts. If you only could have 3, what would they be?
3 desserts. Well, I'm a sucker for meringue. Okay. I love meringue in crispy dry form or in the soft fluffy marshmallow form. So something with meringue. I love a good floating island, which is a very classical French dessert. It's a soft steamed meringue on top of crème anglaise. I love fruit desserts. I would absolutely love just like an apple tart. I think that's
great. Apple tart, floating island, and a meringue.
Yeah, right.
And that's it for the rest of your life.
Yes, right. Gotta have something savory in there. I don't know. I have a Chinese background, and I always get these. I don't even know how to say it in Chinese, but they're these flying saucer type looking things. It's made of rice flour, like a mochi dough, and they stuff it with sweet red bean paste. And they sell them at some Chinese bakeries around town, but you can't find them everywhere. And I would have that too.
Great.
So I gotta like insert something.
You said that eating out is 100% an education.
Yes.
And I loved that. So I was just wondering, are there any restaurants or foods you've had or moments that had a profound effect on you?
I mean, I think I've said this before, but I love Brooks Headley's desserts at Del Posto, and he's obviously been recognized for his work there as well. He always brings to the table something fresh and new and interesting, and I always get inspired whenever I eat there. Traveling also, like, you know, we're in New York. We have a lot of great chefs here, and we have a lot of great food to choose from, but also just even traveling around the country is an education, and seeing what people are doing around the country. Obviously traveling abroad and seeing what people are loving there is always inspiring.
Are there any moments of London? I know we talked about off camera some parts of this, but moments in London and your training in London and just living in London that sort of you hold dear in terms of what you bring to your work now?
Well, there's a very, very popular food market in London. It's called Borough Market, and I discovered that while I was there. And it's a bunch of different food vendors, from cheese and meat to fully baked desserts, and chocolate and wine and everything that you could imagine under this really train track right by the river. And there's a little bakery around there that was always very charming. And when I was conceptualizing the things that we would put up in the bakery, I definitely harked back to those memories of sitting in that bakery.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thanks. For more on your favorite chefs, please visit chefsconnection.com.